My name is John. I am 50 years old. And the first thing you should know about me is this. I have made mistakes, but I never thought I would live long enough to see the day my own daughter would look at me and say, "There's no place for you, Dad." The morning of the baptism, I stood outside the church holding a small white box wrapped in blue ribbon. Inside was a silver bracelet engraved with my grandson's name, Ethan Michael, and the date of his birth. I had chosen it weeks ago, polishing it twice, imagining the day I would slip it into my daughter's hands and say, "For your son." I never imagined I wouldn't even be allowed inside. The church bells rang softly as families streamed past me, women in pastel dresses, men adjusting ties, children laughing. I saw my daughter Emily near the entrance. She wore a pale cream dress, her hair pinned the way her mother used to wear it on special occasions. She saw me. For a moment I thought she might smile. Instead, she walked toward me with tight lips and guarded eyes. "You shouldn't be here," she said quietly. I thought she was joking. "I'm your father," I replied. "It's my grandson's baptism." She glanced over her shoulder, as if afraid someone might hear. "There's no place for you, Dad." I felt something shift inside my chest. "No place," I repeated. "This is a happy day. Please don't make it complicated." Complicated. That word, it echoed in my ears louder than the bells. I wanted to ask her what I had done now. I wanted to remind her of the nights I stayed up rocking her when she had fevers, of the bike I bought her when I couldn't afford new tires for my truck, of the way I clapped the loudest at every school play. But I didn't say any of that. She stepped back toward the church doors. "Please go home," she whispered. And then she turned away. The doors closed behind her. And I stood there, 50 years old, holding a blue ribboned box no one wanted. I didn't go home right away. I sat in my car in the parking lot for nearly an hour. People arrived late, laughing and rushing inside. No one looked at me twice. I suppose I looked like any other man waiting for someone. But I wasn't waiting. I was trying to understand how I had become disposable. You see, Emily and I had been distant for years, not because I didn't love her, but because I had failed her in ways I didn't fully grasp until it was too late. When she was 16, her mother and I divorced. The truth, it was my fault. I worked too much. I lost my temper too easily. I thought providing money was the same thing as providing love. After the divorce, Emily chose to live with her mother. I told myself it was normal for teenage girls to want their mom. But the visits grew shorter, the calls less frequent. And instead of fighting for her harder, I let pride guide me. "She'll come around," I would say. But children grow up. And pride builds walls thicker than brick. When I finally drove home that afternoon, the house felt unusually silent. I placed the unopened gift on the kitchen table. The sunlight hit the silver ribbon just right, making it glint as if mocking me. I poured myself a glass of water, but my hands trembled so badly I spilled it. "There's no place for you, Dad." I walked into the hallway and stopped in front of an old photo frame. Emily at age 8, missing her front tooth, her small hand gripping mine at the beach. She used to call me her hero. When had I become her shame? That's when I noticed something strange. There was an envelope tucked under my door. I frowned. I hadn't seen it when I left that morning. My name was written on it, in Emily's handwriting. My heart thudded. I tore it open. Inside was a letter. "Dad, if you're reading this, it means I didn't have the courage to say everything to your face. I didn't keep you away because I hate you. I kept you away because I'm still hurt. When Mom got sick, you didn't come." My breath caught. "She asked for you." The room felt smaller. "You told me you were busy." The words blurred. That was 5 years ago. Her mother, my ex-wife, had been diagnosed with cancer. I had visited once, just once. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and regret. Seeing her weak, fragile, stripped of the anger we once had, it scared me. So when Emily called again asking me to come sit with her, I said I had work. The truth. I couldn't face what I had broken. I thought there would be time. There was. She died asking if you were on your way. I sank into the chair. I had told myself that my absence didn't matter, that my ex-wife wouldn't want me there. But Emily had wanted me there. And I was. The letter continued. Today isn't about punishing you. It's about protecting my peace. I don't know how to have you in my life without reopening old wounds. But I'm tired of pretending it doesn't hurt. If you want a place in Ethan's life, you need to earn it. Emily, earn it? At 50 years old. I stared at the words for a long time. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not quiet tears. Not the silent, prideful kind. But the kind that shake your shoulders and force you to admit you were wrong. That night, instead of drowning in self-pity, I made a decision. I wouldn't call her to argue. I wouldn't send a defensive text. I wouldn't blame grief or distance or the past. I would take responsibility. The next morning, I drove to the cemetery. I hadn't visited her mother's grave in years. I stood there awkwardly, staring at the name carved in stone. I was a coward, I whispered. The wind moved softly through the trees. I'm sorry. I stayed there for an hour, not because I thought she could hear me, but because I needed to say it out loud. For once in my life, I needed to face what I had avoided. Over the next weeks, I began writing letters to Emily. Not long ones, just honest ones. I apologized for missing the hospital days, for letting pride come before presence, for acting like providing money was enough. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't demand to see my grandson. I simply told her I understood why she was hurt. Then I waited. Weeks passed. No reply. But I kept writing. Because earning a place doesn't happen overnight. One afternoon, about a month later, my phone rang. Emily. My hands shook as I answered. Hi, she said softly. Hi, I replied. There was a pause. I got your letters. I swallowed. I meant every word. Another pause. I don't know how to fix everything, she admitted. But Ethan's pediatrician appointment is tomorrow, if you want to come. It wasn't a baptism. It wasn't a celebration. But it was a door. Yes, I said immediately, I'd like that. The clinic smelled like disinfectant and baby powder. Emily stood there holding Ethan, who had grown since I last saw him. She handed him to me hesitantly. He was warm and surprisingly heavy. His tiny fingers wrapped around mine. And in that moment, I understood something I hadn't before. Being a father isn't about showing up for the big ceremonies. It's about showing up when it's uncomfortable, when it's painful, when pride tells you to stay away. Rebuilding wasn't instant. There were awkward conversations, tears, long silences. Emily told me how alone she felt the night her mother died, how she waited for my car headlights that never came. I didn't defend myself. I listened. Sometimes earning a place simply means standing still long enough to hear the truth. Months later, she invited me over for dinner. Then holidays. Then one evening, she handed me something. The silver bracelet. You should give this to him yourself, she said. We were sitting in her living room. Ethan crawled across the floor toward me. Emily looked at me, not with resentment, but with cautious hope. You have a place here, Dad, she said quietly. Just don't disappear again. I felt tears in my eyes. "I won't," I promised. And this time I meant it. Looking back now, I realized something important. I thought the worst day of my life was standing outside that church, hearing my daughter say there was no place for me. But that wasn't the worst day. It was the wake-up call. The worst day would have been going home, blaming her and doing nothing. Instead, I chose to change. At 50 years old. Because love doesn't expire. And fatherhood doesn't end when children grow up. It only changes shape.